Good Monday morning, sailors. It is Monday, October 19th, and you are going to spend today getting ready for your test tomorrow. So let's talk about what you see on the agenda and go over a few things, and then we're going to get started. So you can see our learning target is I can use proportions to solve real-world ratio and percent problems. And so we've been working in chapter 2 on a few lessons. We've worked on lesson 1, percent of a number, lesson 3, percent proportion, and lesson 5, percent of change. So last week I started to put on the agenda that you were going to have a test coming up this Tuesday, October 20th. And so we are one day away from that. So today what we're going to do, you're going to see here on the agenda, the chapter 2 practice test for part 1, which is your study guide. We always call it a practice test because it's mimicked and it looks just like the actual test that you're going to see on Tuesday. So I'm actually going to start you on that today and get you going on it and do a couple problems with you. And we'll get that set up here shortly. And then the remaining part of your time, once the practice test is done and submitted, because it is an assignment grade, your study guide is an assignment grade, I put study, right? So you can study your practice test because your goal always on your assignments is to get 70% and above. So you can take that as many times as you would like to practice and study and get ready for the test on Tuesday, tomorrow. I also put quiz is. So on Google Classroom here, there are 2 that I focused on. The percent of change one I had put on last week, and I know there was a few issues with that. I edited it, and it now is much better. The problems that are presented to you, I took the ones out that weren't relevant. So that one should be fine. And then the percent proportion as well. Those are your focuses and how we set up proportions and what you're going to see on your test tomorrow. So these are good to practice and study. And then obviously your practice test, right? The other thing you have to make sure is done is your quick check. We only did one quick check within this first part of chapter 2, and that was lessons 1 and 3. It was an assignment that we did last Wednesday. So that is also due tomorrow. There's a few of you that have not completed it yet. And so just remember, all assignments are always due the day of the test, just like chapter 1. So make sure that quick check for lessons 1 and 3 is complete because the test is tomorrow, and that assignment will close tomorrow as well with the test. So what you need to get out right now and ready to go so that we can start today is you need lined paper, you need your calculator and a pencil, obviously. And you're going to get into Schoology, and you are going to open up the practice test. So it's going to look like this. So when you go into Schoology, you're going to see probably over on the right-hand side, chapter 2 percent practice test, or I have a folder here within Schoology. And it's right here as well. Practice test, part 1, study guide. So you're going to open that up and have it ready to go. So as soon as you have this up, the lined paper, your calculator, and a pencil, we are going to start. So you're going to pause right now, make sure everything is ready to go, and then you'll meet me back here and we're going to start some problems together. Okay, so just try to get this out of the way, and it doesn't want to go. So there we go. So what you should have in front of you, like I said, is your Schoology practice test. And so what's going to happen is you're going to follow along as I start you, get you going on a couple problems, and then your calculator and lined paper. So you should always be using lined paper with your quick checks, your practice tests, your tests, so that you work everything out on here. It shouldn't be you picking up your calculator and just pressing numbers in the calculator and you trying it that way and coming up with an answer without setting the problem up. This is so important. In addition to that, making sure, like when you take the test tomorrow on Tuesday, that if you make a mistake, if something happens, even though the test is resumable, for some reason you lose your answers, you have all of your work and all of your answers on the lined paper. Okay, so on your lined paper, you can put, chapter 2%, part 1 practice test. You're going to see on the practice test, I sectioned it off into the proportions that you're going to use for each problem. So you'll see on your practice test right now, for problems 1 through 10, it's going to tell you this is the percent proportion. And so you are using this setup for all problems 1 through 10. So the part, the is, the whole, the of, equals n over 100. You're solving for a missing part of that proportion. So let's start with number 1. Number 1 says, and you should see this on your screen with on your Schoology practice test. What is 36% of 90? So if you notice on the practice test, I bolded what is. That's what you're finding. You don't know the part, the is you don't know, so that's where your variable goes. Is 36%, well, you have your percentage. And you know what? I just realized up here that is supposed to say percent over 100. My fault. So 36% out of 100. And then of 90, you have the of, the whole. What is, you don't know the is, 36%, 36 out of 100%, of 90, of denominator, that's your whole. So at this point, you are going to take and cross multiply. So you're going to have 100 times x equals, right? And you should be showing this on your paper, your line paper right now with me. 90 times 36. So multiply that out. And when you multiply that out, you should see this value, 3,240. And at that point, you need to solve for x. You need to find the part. Well, we need to get x all by itself. We're going to divide by 100 on both sides. X equals 3,240 divided by 100. When you divide by 100, it moves the decimal 2 places to the left. And so if it moves it 2 places to the left, you would get 32.40 or 32.4. Final answer. So 32.4 is your missing part. 32.4 out of 90 is 36%. Okay, let's try another one together. Number 2. Oops. Okay. So we're going to start by setting our proportion up. And we're going to see what number 2 gives us. 19.25 is 35% of what number? Of what number is bolded? We don't know the whole. The of, we don't know. Of what number? We don't know the whole. 35%. Always our percentages go over 100. 35% over 100. 19.25 is. 19.25 is. That's your part. That's your numerator. 19.25 is 35% of what number? We're solving for the whole this time. Okay, so here's your setup. 35 times x equals, over here in the other direction, 19.25 times 100. When you multiply by 100, that decimal is going to move 2 places to the right. 1,925. Solve for x. Let's find that whole that we're missing in the denominator there. Divide by 35. X equals work that out right now on your calculator. You should see and get 55. X equals 55. Okay, so you have found your whole. So your missing denominator, the of. So I've started you out on numbers 1 and 2. Now again, remember I said through 10. So you have 8 more problems that you are using this setup right here. So I'm going to move forward a little bit. I mean, you're still responsible for the other 8 problems here, but I want to talk about starting on number 11. So what I want to show you here is down at number 11, right before number 11, you're going to see another set of directions that says for problems 11 through 14, use the following setup to find percent of change. And so here's the proportion for percent of change that you're going to use for problems 11 through 14. So we're going to do a couple together again. So I'm going to come back here and show you on the line paper. Okay, so problems 11 through 14. So you can keep going on your line paper, or if you want to skip some lines, knowing you still have to do problems 3 through 10, but you can go to number 11 somewhere on your paper, wherever it makes sense to you, and let's start looking at percent of change. This setup, right? 11 through 14, you're using this setup. So in number 11, it says Trix cereal last week was $3.49. And so the price has increased this week to $4.15. How much is the percent of increase? Trix cereal last week was $3.49. This is the original amount right here. The price has increased this week to $4.15, $4.15. This is the new price. How much is the percent of increase? So the cost of the cereal is going up. It's increasing. There's a percent of increase occurring. So that means here we need to find that percent of increase, right? So we don't know the percent out of 100. That's what we're solving for. Now here is the difference in cost, right? So we need to subtract the $4.15 minus the $3.49. And when you subtract that, your difference, your dollar amount difference here, you should be doing this on your calculator, is 66 cents actually. There's a 66 cents difference in cost. Now remember, the original was the $3.49. The price is going up, it's increasing. Okay. So let's see what our percent of increase. We're going to start here. $3.49 times N equals 100 times 66 cents. You multiply by 100, it moves the decimal 2 places to the right. That's going to give you 66. All right, let's solve and find that percent. Let's divide by 349 on both sides. N equals, all right, 66 divided by $3.49. You get 18.911, and then it just keeps going a little bit more. And so with our percent of increase, we're looking at 18.9%. So if you look at your answer choices in number 11, 18.9, you'll see there is our final answer. %. Okay, so like I said, 11 through 14, you're using that setup. And then what you'll see past number 14 is some chapter 1 review. So every test you take will always have review questions on it. We've only taken a chapter 1 test so far. So that's what you're going to see for your review. 15 through 20 are those review questions. All right, so I'm now going to let you go and continue to work. Keep using the lined sheet of paper as you go. And then make sure you're putting your answers in and you submit. This is an assignment grade. It's going in the grade book. So please make sure that that is getting completed and ready for the test tomorrow. So make sure you study. I showed you here what to look at and study for the test tomorrow. Your practice test looks just like your test. So for sure, study that up to as many times as you want to. It's unlimited. And then if you have time, the quiz is. Okay, so good luck studying, and I will see you tomorrow, test day.